question, when excess aqueous sodium hydroxide was added to each sample separately, a white precipitate was formed in Roman 3 only. Identify solution 3. So we are looking for the solution which does not form a complex ion with results. So we are having lead ions. We are reacting with excess of hydroxide ions to form a lead hydroxide solution. Okay, so if it is forming lead hydroxide solution, this is a complex ion, therefore it is a soluble salt. So zinc ions here will again react with 4 moles of hydroxide ion in solution to form a complex ion again, which is zinc into brackets hydroxide into brackets 4 into big bracket like this 2 negative. Again, this is a solution. When potassium reacts with hydroxide ions, okay, what is formed? Potassium hydroxide solution. Again, potassium hydroxide is soluble. So these three are forming soluble compounds. Next, we have calcium. They are reacting with hydroxide, okay, hydroxide ions. This one will form calcium hydroxide, which is a solid. So if you look at this 4, lead forms a complex ion which is soluble. Zinc forms a complex ion which is soluble again. Potassium forms potassium hydroxide which is soluble. And calcium reacts with hydroxide ions to form calcium hydroxide which is insoluble. So the right answer is calcium chloride, because calcium hydroxide is insoluble. Or you write the formula, because again we have been told to identify. You are free to write either the name or the formula. So we know solution 2 is potassium chloride, solution 3 is calcium chloride. We go to the last part of the question. When dilute sulfuric 6 acid was added separately to each sample, a white precipitate was formed in solution 1 and 3 only. Okay, identify solution 1. So we know solution 3 contains calcium ions. Okay, now calcium ions reacts with sulfate ions. Okay, this is in solution, and this is in solution to form calcium sulfate. Calcium sulfate is slightly soluble. Okay, so this one will be seen as a white precipitate. Okay, we have zinc ions. When it reacts with sulfate ions from the sulfuric 6 acid, this one will give us zinc sulfate. So zinc sulfate is soluble, therefore this one will be a solution. So it is not this one because it is soluble. So one of the solutions we have said is what? One of the ions is calcium, because calcium sulfate is slightly soluble. Now we move to the next, which is potassium. So potassium ions will react with sulfate ions in solution to form potassium sulfate. Again, potassium sulfate is soluble. So this one again is soluble, therefore it is not responsible for formation of the white precipitate. So zinc ions are not responsible, potassium ions are not responsible. Lastly, we have lead. So lead ions will react with sulfate ions in solution, okay, in solution to give us lead to sulfate. Lead to sulfate is insoluble, so it is in solid state. So if already solution 3 is calcium chloride, then solution 2 is lead 2 nitrate, because lead 2 nitrate contains lead 2 ions which reacts with sulfate ions to form lead 2 sulfate. So generally, this question is testing on solubility of sulfates. All sulfates are soluble except lead sulfate, barium sulfate, and calcium sulfate, which is slightly soluble. Lead sulfate is insoluble, therefore it will be in solid state. Barium sulfate is insoluble, therefore it is in solid state. Calcium sulfate is slightly soluble. So these are the only sulfates which are insoluble, but the rest are soluble. We meet in our next video.